Welcome to State of Ed, a podcast about education inside the classroom and out. My name is Marc. Nick Simone's not with me here at EdCamp Long Island 2019, but during this session, I'm sitting down with a number of the organizers of EdCamp Long Island to get their insights on how to put together such a dynamic conference. Here I am at session 3, and I'm with 3 of the many organizers of this excellent EdCamp Long Island 2019. I have Corey, Whitney, and Sari here. Thanks so much for stopping in, and I wanted to talk all things EdCamp Long Island because this is a massive undertaking. Over 600 people signed up for this event, and the auditorium was absolutely packed this morning for the opening. The parking lot was completely jammed. I had to park in like the other lot. I didn't even get like a good parking spot, which was, kind of bummed me out a little bit, but it's a beautiful day, so I got my steps in. But so can you just take us through, for the people listening, how does something this massive come together, and what roles did you play?
So for me, I was the host district. So a lot of the things that I was taking care of were actually on site. And I can't even really use the word I because I have to tell you, it takes a village. I mean, there is absolutely no way that an event like this could really come together without the impressive collaboration that I am honored to be a part of this incredible team with the EdCamp planning team. And then, of course, we also had an internal team for all things on site.
Were you responsible for the musicians playing this morning when we came in?
Not me,
so
the high
awesome.
school.
That was so cool.
Thank you. Yeah, they were pretty impressive. That's actually what all of our high school students get to enjoy every single Friday morning.
That's amazing. That's such a great cultural aspect of a school. It just makes it unique, and that's special. And it gives, first of all, it gives the kids who are working so hard on their instruments an opportunity to play live, which typically they'll get maybe a couple of concerts a year, or if they play in a pit for a show. But to have that on a weekly basis is just a great way for them to develop their musicianship, and for kids to see them do their thing. And I'm a big fan of Jay-Z. Jay-Z has said on numerous occasions that everybody has genius level talent. It's just a matter of finding out what that is. So if you have someone who's maybe not necessarily a star athlete or a superstar academic, but is an amazing saxophone player, like, they should have an opportunity to be showcased. So that's so cool. I tip my hat to you guys for that. And if I steal that idea, just know that I've stolen it from you.
I think everybody should, because I have to tell you, like you said, it gives those students the opportunities, and it's absolutely incredible. And the kids, they love coming in. Friday mornings, everyone looks forward to it. They all go through the front door.
There are a million different formats out there, but why EdCamp?
For me, I did not go to the first EdCamp. I didn't know about it. My wife turned me onto it from Ed Chemitzer, who started one at Mass Pequa several years ago. And the format is just amazing because it's an unconference where you go to learn whatever you're interested in. It's not like a regular professional development where, all right, I'm going to sit in the library and I'm going to learn about whatever.
Whatever someone tells it.
Yeah, whatever.
Right.
So, and the best thing about it to me is the law of 2 feet, which means if you're in a session and it's not exactly what you thought it was, you can get up and go to another session and no one minds. It's fine. So, and it's just free format too. So you can kind of, if you're interested in a topic and you don't want to present, you can just pose it as a topic and then have other people who are interested in that topic and just have a conversation about it. And the networking involved, I've met tremendous amount of people throughout Long Island, New York City, even as far as like New Jersey, Connecticut, that come out here. It always makes me feel invigorated when I'm done. So I'm exhausted from the day. However, I'm invigorated for when I go back to work on Monday, that I want to try new things. I want to have more conversations with my own colleagues. And it just makes me feel really good about being in education.
I was on the wrong side of the law of 2 feet earlier today because I had a number of people in here, and I was explaining to them the format because I was recording the podcast as we had our conversation. 2 women had bags of chips that they had just picked up from those really great kids who were carrying them around like those 1950s, nightclub boxes where they walk around with snacks. I said, if you can do me a favor, just finish your chips because the microphone rather will pick up all the crunching. And they both got up and they said, we're just going to do our chips. And then I said, I've never left out to a bag of chips before, but it's the first time ever. So how many years have you been involved in EdCamp, all of you?
I've been to all the EdCamps, and I think you mentioned before culture, and I think that's a big part of it. And Sari certainly brought a piece of the Comac culture to this EdCamp. And the boxes that you mentioned, I took a picture and tweeted that early on today, and those girls and all of the students who were here volunteering were incredible. And I had the opportunity to host it last year at Mineola, and it was a great day, and it's a lot of work, and I certainly know all the work that Sari put into this and her team, and you really can't do it without an on-site team. But the connections I've made and the network of people that you can count on and the professional learning that you can do outside the classroom that continues, either on Twitter or Voxer and other areas. We've gone to some EdCamp meetups that we do, and then we've gone to what was that? Parsippany. There was a EdCamp
It was like
Foundation.
a regional EdCamp.
So
Thing.
that was great, and we met people from all over the country at that one. It just grows your network outside the four walls of your own school or school district that you work in. So it's really a great way to learn.
It's so easy to get caught in an echo chamber, become a little bit institutionalized in your own institution. So it's good to break out of that. So since you've been to all of these ed camps, how have you noticed it changing or evolving over the 6 years that this particular ed camp has been in existence?
I think the structure has always stayed the same, which is great. However, because it's not a pre-planned conference, it's always current in terms of what people are interested in talking about. And I think what I always encourage people to do is, even if it's your first time at an ed camp, to put up a session and to pose a question. The saying goes that the smartest person in the room is the room. And Ed Chemnitzer says that a lot, and he used that actually in one of his sessions today. And it really is true. And I had a conversation early this morning with some pre-service teachers from SUNY Old Westbury, and I said to them, you don't have to be the experts. Why don't you put up a question? And they did. And I wasn't in the session, but I saw pictures and they filled the room with people who had questions about getting a first-time job. So I think that you never know what you're going to come up with, and you never know where your next employer is. And there's a lot of people from the teaching ranks through central office administrators that come here, and that's what I've seen change, I guess, is the population of people. I think it started off with a lot of teachers being there, and we've been able to increase the amount of administrators and getting administrators to see the value of this model in terms of professional development.
That's great. So Corey, Sari, have you noticed any evolution in the topics that people have been putting up there and things that they've wanted to share or wanted to learn?
Yeah, I think a topic that's definitely very popular the last couple of years is like standardized grading. Do we need it? How can we change it? Stuff like that. So like Whitney said, as the times change, the topics are changing. So, and technology is changing. So a lot of people, when I said, let's come here today, they're like, oh, I don't want to go to a technology conference. I said, it's not technology. It can be technology, and it can be a conversation. And it's just staying current with in education. And it's always evolving. So even the technology sessions are great because there's even technology you're familiar with. It's always evolving. You got to keep up with it, or else you're going to have a Tower Records moment where you go out of business, or a Blockbuster moment.
Right.
If you don't keep current, you're going to be knocked out of business. Which, as a teacher, the kids are going to surpass you, and you if you want to be a good teacher, in my opinion, you got to keep up with them.
We were talking about how ed camps have gained momentum over the years. And so one of the sessions that I've seen start to come up over the last couple of years is how to bring an ed camp into your home district, right? All of a sudden, this has really had such a ripple effect where this type of learning style where it's, as Don Gately would say, it's ruining PD for districts. In fact, it's enhancing it. And the types of PDs that are going on now are EdCamp style or have an unconference in your district. So last year and this coming year, we actually mirrored our November Staff Conference Day after EdCamp, and it has been embraced and it has just been so well received. And the energy and the excitement mirrors what I feel from a day like today in my own home district, which is pretty incredible.
That's awesome. So to that end, if you were counseling or advising someone who wanted to start an ed camp locally, someone who's listening from wherever they may be, what advice would you give them to start from square one?
Visit an ed camp first to see what it is. There's ed camps all around the region. They're all over the country. visit an EdCamp first, so that way you know what the model is like, and then maybe follow some of those people on Twitter and Voxer and ask them for suggestions on how you can do it in your own district as well.
We did an EdCamp style conference for our staff development as well, and I would agree with Corey. Being there is the best thing to see how it goes. But we have over 100 teachers in the building I work, and not everybody has been to an EdCamp, so getting them to kind of wrap their head around the model was a little difficult. However, what we did to kind of help facilitate that, where we sent out a Google Doc ahead of time, so we pre-populated the board. Rather than doing it the morning of. So I think that was helpful for us to see, like, teachers would volunteer to put up a session, but they wanted to kind of see what other people were doing.
Right. You didn't want to be out on a high wire without a net.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah, I totally
right.
get that, yeah.
And not knowing what we were getting into as a school, we wanted to make sure we had enough sessions for people to go to on that day. Right. So pre-populating was great. I think teachers really enjoyed the fact that they were able to share something they knew. And we are our own best professional development. There's a lot of brain power in the schools that we work in, and helping each other through that way is really well received.
Because there's such a stigma that is surrounding professional development. There's that old joke, like someone's taking a tour of heaven and they come across this first area and they see all these people like frolicking outside and having fun, and like, who are these people? Like, oh, these are the firefighters. And then you see this next section of people, and they're eating ice cream and having candy and so on. Like, who are these people? Like, oh, these are the police officers and law enforcement. Oh, that's wonderful. And then they get to this other section, and it's just a ghost town. Like, who's supposed to be here? They're like, these are the teachers, but right now, actually, they're in hell. It's a staff development day. So,
Oh my God.
so that's the stigma that goes along with staff development. So something like this, which is an unconference, which is doing basically what 21st century technology has been doing and is doing to everybody, is flipping everything around and putting the onus back on you and empowering you as an educator to be able to share out and do all these great things and show what your talents are and how you can help your fellow educator become that much better and that much more proficient at his or her job.
Well, they do say that the teacher's best resource is each other.
Mm-hmm.
And providing choice is really important.
Yeah. Like even this morning, people asked me like, well, what are the sessions? I said, I don't know. We don't know yet. And they're like, what do you mean you don't know? I was like, no, we don't know. And like you said, Whitney, like people can't wrap their head around, like, it's not pre-planned. It's whatever you want to do. And, they were like blown away by that model.
But, and I had that same feeling when I first came to EdCamp. I think it was the second year you guys did it. And Ed had invited me out, and I had was doing some stuff on podcasting. I just started the podcast at the time. And I was trying to wrap my head around it as well. And then I came in, and as soon as I saw the board and saw people starting to put things up, I immediately got it. And I was like blown away by that concept. And it just clicked, and it makes all the sense in the world. And then it's just one of those things where you're sitting around saying, how come I didn't think of that for all these years where we were just trying to come up with something that people would like? And then they kind of come in with, folded arms and knitting. And
well, it still amazes me that the board fills up. That's always the thing that gives me the most anxiety in the morning, is like, how are we ever going to fill that board? And it just does.
Like even today, I filled it pretty quickly. Like,
Very quickly today.
I was right. I had a couple ideas in my back pocket. I'm like, all right, if we're missing a spot, like I can do this, or this. And then I went back and I was like, I guess I don't have to do any of them today because it was filled. It was amazing.
The same experience.
It filled up.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say the board filled up. It was filled with amazing, varied topics, and I got to walk around and hear people sharing out. And I had some wonderful people come in here and meet with me. So thank you guys, Corey, Whitney, Sari. Thank you so much for doing what you do, and to everyone on your EdCamp LI planning team. Another amazing year. I do look forward to year number 7, even though I'm sure you don't even think about year number 7 right now. You're just thinking about what kind of beer you're going to have at the ale house later.
Session 4, I think that's what it is.
It's session 4, exactly. But starting tomorrow, you start to kind of bask in this one, and then maybe in a couple of days start thinking about year 7. But thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Thanks, Marc.
So that's it from EdCamp Long Island 2019. You can find State of Ed Podcast on Apple Podcasts or on the web, stateofedpodcast.com. You could also follow us on Twitter at SOE Podcast. If you'd like to follow me individually, you can follow me at Marc Isix. pick up a copy of my book, Forward Fast, Making Sense of Education in an Era of Rapid Change, wherever books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Goodreads, etc. This has been a great day of learning, and we hope to be back. We're looking forward to it. Have a great one.